Hello and welcome to Talk Gnosis for June 20th, 2012. I'm Father Anthony, and joining me, as always, is Bishop Thomas Langley. Bishop, hello.
Good evening, Father.
How are you?
I'm well. I'm hot, but well.
Yes, it's very hot. It's very hot today. It's probably 150 degrees, and it's uncomfortable. But we're going to do a show anyway. So tonight's topic is Valentinian cosmology. Kind of an interest of both of ours. And if you are watching live, please join us in the conversation. If you have any questions or comments, you can post them right in the YouTube live chat or live comments section, and you can post any of your comments and questions there. So let's get right into it. What do we have to say about Valentinian cosmology?
Well, but before we get into cosmology, and it's going to take some time to get into it, maybe even a couple of discussions. But one of the questions that comes up frequently is why is it important? Because the first thing that any of us do when we look at the Gnostic Gospels, the Gnostic Scriptures, the non-commodity writings, and related texts for the first time, is we run into all these very complicated-looking lists of new and bizarre names, and there's a tendency that I've found, and to just sort of skip through that and look for the things that we think are Gnostic-y sounding in these writings, and skip over all that stuff as if it's not important. And a lot of us have done that for a long time. That stuff's not really important. What's really important is the stuff about gnosis. And yet, when you take a look at what the Gnostics said about themselves and what they said about what they thought was important, you find out that not only is the cosmology important, it was actually essential, and in fact made up part of what they called gnosis. We're all familiar with the text from the excerpt from Theodotus that says, what makes us free is the gnosis of who we were, of what we've become, of where we were, of wherein we've been cast, of whereto we speed, of wherefrom we are redeemed, of what birth truly is, and of what rebirth truly is. So gnosis to the community that we're calling Gnostics actually included an immediate experiential knowledge and understanding of this cosmology. And you'll see it over and over again when revelation comes to Gnostics by whether it's Seth or Jesus or some other revelatory figure. Their message isn't just sort of New Age bromides about you're divine and everything is one. It actually included some pretty complicated doctrinal things. And we have a tendency as Gnostics to think that we're post-doctrinal and that dogma and doctrine are bad things, but to the classical Gnostics they were important. And for us as modern Gnostics they're important because cosmology determines anthropology, our view of men and women and of the state that we're in. And that determines how we get out of the state we're in, how we're liberated. And without an understanding of the scheme of things, we don't have a map forward. So, let's start off. As an overview, Valentinian cosmology starts with this primal being. We're going to charts already. Okay.
Okay, we don't have to.
Okay. With this primal, ineffable Father, the Godhead, who had really two components, a male and a female component. The bythos, which means the depth or the profundity, is also known as the unknown Father, the Supreme Father. He's described as uncontained, incomprehensible, and cannot be seen, cannot be heard. Again, fitting with the theme that we've touched on in earlier discussions about the apophatic nature of Gnostic theology, particularly in describing the monad. So, but this Bythos, this godhead, also incorporated masculine and feminine characteristics. So you had the Bythos, which was the depth, and the ineffable, the first father, and then you had the other half of the dyad, the feminine aspect, which was called anoia, and or silence, or thought sometimes, and this is the aspect through which the Father provides the universe with substance. And so she's the active, creative thought that sort of gives, out of this silence, causes things to come forth, causes the further emanations.
Mm-hmm. So we're looking at the syzygies again, right? The all the way down this ogdoad, we're looking at pairs, right?
Right, and throughout the realm of the aeons that we'll be talking about, the Pleroma, we'll see over and over again dyads, the male and the female, and that frequently those dyads are unions of opposite or contrasting concepts. So we start off with the initial dyad, the Bythos, along with the Noia, the depth, the abyss surrounded by the first thought. And that first thought, the Father, through that first thought, brings forth the only begotten Son. Now, one of the interesting things that we've seen in other discussions of Gnostic cosmologies and aeons and emanations is that even though this emanation is called the only begotten Son, it is also a male and female dyad made up of nous and aletheia, which is mind and truth. And this is what we refer to as, and what Scripture refers to as the only begotten Son, which is a common theme not just in Scriptures that are identified as Valentinian, but even in canonical Gospels. So, like the Father, like the ineffable Father, the Son is also androgynous and made up of a male and female dyad. So, at this point in the emanations, we have the Father and the Son, and they are sometimes referred to as the original four. They're two sets of dyads, who then give birth to the rest of the aeons. And the next emanations that come from them are, again, a male and female pair, Logos and Zoe. Logos, of course, is a word we're all familiar with, meaning word. And Zoe is one of the Greek words for life. And then from them, the next emanation that comes forth is Anthropos, which means man, and church. And now, this pair of word and life, Logos and Zoe, were generated in the image of their sort of grandparents up the chain of emanations, depth and silence. And then the second pair of emanations here, Anthropos and Ecclesia, were created in the image of mind and truth. And they sort of represent the natural, the pleromic state of humanity united with the church. So these emanations that we have here are referred to as the Ogdoad. And according to Valentinians, they were referred to specifically in the prologue to the fourth gospel. So when John, or the author of the Gospel of John, says the Word existed in the beginning, the Valentinians believed that he was referring to mind and truth. And when he refers to the what was made had life in union with the Word in the Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 4, he was referring to also to Word and life, the pair of emanations there. So the next thing that happened in this process of emanations is that Logos and Zoe, who were part of the Ogdoad, brought forth 5 other sets of dyads, one after the other. And they are referred to as the Decad. And they were brought forth in honor of our original pair, which was depth and silence, Bythos and Anoia. And these 10 principles, these 10 emanations, these 10 personifications of the thoughts of the divine are principles which are referred to as the necessity for an ethical or moral life. And one of the things that's interesting is that there's some interesting pairings here. The male side, Bythios, Agoratos, etc., tend to refer to stability, and the female terms tend to refer to union and change. And that's a theme that runs right through the entire decade. And then the next set of emanations that we would look at would be a set of 12, which are called the dodecad. Now these 12 were generated by Anthropos and Ecclesia, man and church, and they were generated in honor of our second set of original emanations, which were mind and truth, nous and aletheia. And these 6 pairs, these 12, refer to perfected humanity and to the church, and to the characteristics of the church. So the decad refer to ethical qualities, and then the dodecad, which is what we're looking at now, Parakletos, which is helper and faith, paternal and hope, refer to characteristics of the church specifically, and of perfected humanity united to the church.
Mm-hmm. And the Valentinians were real churchy folks, weren't they?
Well, yes. I mean, their practice centered on sacramental life, and as this shows us, they believed that the church was actually a pre-existent emanation of the Godhead.
Mm-hmm. All right, and all of these charts are going to be available in the show notes for download. So feel free to take a look at those and pick them apart as much as you'd like. Any last thoughts you'd like to bring up about cosmology?
I think we need to tackle the rest of this in a second discussion, so we can talk about what went wrong in this process of emanations, mm-hmm. and we can talk about the Gnostics, the Valentinian Gnostic scheme of restoration to the Pleroma, which is specifically tied into their cosmological view.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll have many, many more discussions about the Valentinians. All right, so do we have some news, Bishop?
Yeah, we wanted to mention, first of all, one of the friends of Talk Gnosis, a faithful listener and commenter, Eric Bryant, has just announced that he's finished and published online a book that he's put together, a short little, I guess, a 40-page book called Revising Basic Orthodox Christian Doctrine, One Gnostic System. And you can check that out at Amazon.com. And we'll put the link up on our show notes as well, right? Mm-hmm. And also, we want to announce that our own Father Anthony is raising funds to help finish his book, which is called Sanctuary, the Sacred Flame, A Guide to Johannite Spiritual Practice. And that link is at http, well, we'll post it on the website, right?
Yep, yep.
Okay.
But it's bit.ly/Johannite practice. 2 N's in Johannite. And we're at 32% of our goal, so it's good. We're getting there.
And this will be the first book published that really sort of details the practices of the Johannite tradition as practiced by the AJC.
The AJC, yeah, and it'll be some of the practices. I mean, it would be a very large book indeed to detail all of the things that all of the Johannites did. But this is kind of a survey of things that I have been collecting over the years, practices and prayers and rituals and all kinds of stuff. So hopefully it'll be useful to some people who are interested in Johannite spirituality but don't necessarily have a parish to go to. And having said all that, if you would like to leave us some feedback, please leave a comment in our YouTube comments or email us at talkgnosis@gnosticnyc.com. Find the full show notes at GnosticNYC. And I should do this while I'm doing that. I'm very unprepared. And if you have any comments, please leave them either on our email or at talkgnosis@tumblr.com, or our social media links will be in the description. Coming up on Talk Gnosis, very possibly on the 27th, we have Jeffrey Kupperman, very possibly to talk about Neoplatonists. We're still working out the details on that, but if he isn't able to do that particular date, we will certainly reschedule him soon, and we'll find something else to talk about. I'm sure we can find something else to talk about. And coming up at Gnostic NYC on the 15th of July at 2 p.m. at the Center for Remembering and Sharing, 123 4th Avenue in Manhattan, second floor. Greg Kaminsky from the Occult of Personality podcast will be talking to us about esotericism in colonial Pennsylvania. And after that lecture's done, it will also be available here on our YouTube page. If you have any questions for Greg about esotericism in colonial Pennsylvania, email info@gnosticnyc.com and we'll pass those along. And for all of our upcoming events, see gnosticnyc.com for all of the details, and you will find them all there. If you would like to support us, please visit our website, and on the bottom of the left-hand column, there's a blue button that says Support Us. Please click that and donate some money. We would really appreciate it. It helps us bring in great lecturers. It helps us put on some of these great programs that you have come to expect.
And Talk Gnosis is a production of Gnostic NYC, promoting Gnosticism in New York City. You can find us online at GnosticNYC.com. If you enjoyed the show, please share it with friends, click the like button, and subscribe to our channel. Opinions expressed on this program do not necessarily represent the views of Gnostic NYC or of any other organization. No animals were harmed during the production of this show. For more Talk Gnosis, tune in live every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Have a good night.
Good night.